What's up everybody, Couch Mills here, coming at you with a brand new Valorant video. Finally back in NA, and I get back and players are literally boycotting Valorant. They are completely furious, but the dev asked me anything. So we're gonna break down what the devs exactly said about the future of Valorant, why people are so pissed off, and Riot themselves responded. So there's a lot we gotta break down and talk about, but the GameLeap website's the absolute best place to pop off. I've been getting messages like crazy of players that have reached Diamond, Immortal, and even Radiant. So if you wanna climb just like them, do yourself a favor and go check it out right now, down below. So the typical ask me anything for Valorant is players asking questions to devs and then they respond. And this was the first question. Now that there are 7 maps in rotation, will you be adding a map/pick ban system? This is not something we're currently planning for regular competitive queue play, because at this time we really want to reinforce learning how to play all maps instead of always avoiding specific ones. That being said, we do believe a map pick/ban system is worth exploring in an environment fit for complex team strategizing like our planned tournament mode. It's still a work in progress, but we see its potential in a space where teams will have planned plays and agent compositions for various maps, or maybe that they'll just want to avoid Ye's chamber on bind. So that's interesting. It means that that tournament mode could easily have some sort of pick and ban system. And honestly, when the map selection gets really wide, having a pick and ban system makes it a lot easier to practice and train on certain maps. Otherwise, you have to be good on like every single map. And imagine if there's like 15 maps, like how much goddamn screaming is that? So ultimately, I think it's gonna be an interesting formula. And when we have a ton of maps, it's gonna make a lot more sense. Now, next up is, are you still working on gifting system? We are definitely as excited about this idea as we were the first time we talked about it, initially targeting gifting by the end of 2020. That being said, the work behind a potential system is currently in our backlog, mostly due to prioritizing other in-game changes, as well as exploring more comprehensive ways to bring it to Valorant. No timeline as of today. So the gifting system is being worked on, but it's not quite ready yet. Now you might be asking, okay, why are people pissed off? Well, this is the next question that pissed a lot of people off. It says, are there any updates on a possible in-game replay system? And for those of you who don't know, replay is like, you could go in, watch some of the games that you actually played in. You could look back from other people's perspectives, see what you did right and wrong, break it down, use it for content, use it for practice or VOD review/coaching. There's a lot of potential with the replay system. And they had this response to say, quote, shortly after Valorant's launch, we told you that we are very much interested in exploring the feasibility of an in-game replay system to discover the best possible executions given a wide range of potential uses. The shortest answer today is that there is no plan for a player-facing version of a replay system as of now. We know that this is a frequently requested feature from all types of players. Our exploration is continuous against developing our other Valorant features like new ways to track and reward agent progress, player behavior tools, different ways to collect in-game items, all to measure what makes the most sense to prioritize based on what serves the most players and has the most long-term impact on game health. More directly, this exploration has helped us discover how we might use some of what we've learned to help improve observing in matches as well as evolving our live esports broadcasts. And now this made a lot of people angry. Twitter completely went mental about them saying that they weren't gonna do a VOD review system, and you even have huge posts blowing up on Reddit talking about players not spending any more money on Valorant or boycotting the paid aspect of Valorant because they're so furious with this decision. Now, as far as the why, it is probably complex. There's a lot of things that they're working on, and maybe it's a lot harder to do, but at the end of the day, a game that is so centered around competition, esports, and especially just trying to improve and better yourself and climb, it makes absolutely no sense to not make a replay system your biggest priority. When a game like Overwatch has a freaking great replay system, but Valorant, a game that actually has a legitimate esport, doesn't, that's actually kind of really sad. Now, of course, I'm gonna be super biased here because as a content creator, having VOD reviews would just be insane. Like, I loved doing VOD reviews on this channel of players that sent it in, but it caused all sorts of problems where people would send in freaking their audio fused with the video, or they'd send in something that wasn't high enough quality, or, you know, they just had a million different problems. And on top of that, I couldn't watch from every other player in the lobby's perspective, so it was hard to get an accurate reading of what the enemies were trying to do and how they misplayed, and it was just a mess. Like, having a VOD review system would not only make it easier to make content, you could make fun, educational content, coaches could coach easier, and at the end of the day, you can look back at your own games and just see what you did wrong and where your decision making could have diverged. I just think it's so necessary for Valorant that I understand why people are really pissed off. And it is upset that after them saying that freaking, I don't know, 2 years ago that they were working on it, we still haven't even gotten it, and they're not even having it on their radar really as something that's a priority. Now, Riot devs did have a response to this, but I do want to talk and read through the 2 other questions that were asked at the Ask Me Anything. First off, thoughts on alternating skins when on attack and defense. So they said, we've seen an appetite for getting additional use out of your current collections, so we actually are already exploring the feasibility of an idea like this. There are no commitments to share today, and here's why. The team needs to first understand / test the limits of performance and memory so that you don't see any negative impacts in and out of game. We would also need to consider making any potential updates to the collections page to properly showcase / support this in its current collections menu. Finally, among other unknowns are already some other concepts in progress that may compete with this idea in some way. So, kind of a non-answer, but they are working on something that gives you a little bit more bang for your buck as far as skins are concerned. We'll have to see what that's going to look like. Last up is, Arcane was amazing. Will we see a Valorant-themed Netflix series? And they responded with, Arcane was amazing. We'd be lying if we claimed not to have hopes and dreams of one day delivering something of that stature in the Valorant universe. But wow, our League of Legends Legends set an insanely high bar with the series. From the outset, we set out to create an expansive universe with depth of characters to support any potential future experiences that we believe players would want, including premium entertainment. But don't expect anything too soon. We're going to remain hyper-focused on the game for quite some time, and we have plenty we still want to do to keep expanding the universe in support of Valorant the game. So, you know, honestly, that probably makes sense. As much as we want it, it took a long time for League of Legends to get anything close. Plus, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm with the same studio that's working on Arcane to work on the Valorant Netflix series. And if that's gonna be the case, we gotta have them finish up Arcane. And Arcane's phenomenal. I want to see like at least like 3 or 4 seasons of that shit before they decide to close that off. And then the studio can move over to Valorant, right? We don't want Arcane to die because the Valorant show is getting pushed too aggressively. Val's going to be here for a long time. We can have the show later down the line, but maybe they'll go a completely different direction and do it with a different studio. We'll have to wait and see on that one, but I'm okay for now with that being not #1 priority. But let's go back to what we talked about with people pissed off and the Riot devs response. So this was a Riot devs response on Twitter, and he said this, quote, about those Ask Valorant responses. Well, oof, it's been rough to read the responses to our Ask Valorant posts the last 24 hours. Not because we feel attacked, but because we feel bad we haven't been engaging with y'all like we used to. We love our game, we love this community, we understand your frustration, and we know we haven't been communicating as much as we've been working on. While we've been on track shipping maps and agents recently, we haven't been giving you reasons to get excited for the future, just excuses for what we're not doing. We're going to take a stab at providing some better answers on where the game is and some of the plans for the future that we hope will answer a lot of your questions. It'll take a couple of days to pull together, so hopefully you can bear with us until next week. Love, the Valorant team. And I think he really hit the nail on the head here. At the end of the day, we're really happy that we get constant updates. We're happy that we get new agents and maps, but we want the game to be flushed out. One of the biggest complaints about Valorant is it kind of feels hollow, and it always has. We have some like mini game mode that's like meh. We have, you know, unrated, and then we have competitive, and that's it. I know they're working on a tournament system, but we want a tournament mode. We want a 1v1 mode. We want like a million other things. We want things to be worked on, things to be expanded. And we really want Valorant to kind of shape and form into something amazing over the next like 2, 3, 4 years, rather than just being the exact same game with like maps and new agents. Like, that's cool and that's great, but we feel like it could go so much further, especially when players want something and the Valorant dev response is like, nah, we're not really gonna prioritize this thing that you want. It can definitely make people a little bit upset. And then on top of that, when things are being worked on, probably by a different subset organization, but you know, when something is being prioritized like Valorant Mobile, that no one gives a shit about. I could see some of the anger in the community. But at the end of the day, I do appreciate them taking responsibility here, and after dealing with devs that are just absolutely throwing in Overwatch and Halo Infinite, I'm giving them so much more benefit of the doubt that, you know, maybe I'm being too nice, not hard enough on them, but definitely let me know how you feel. What do you feel about the whole situation? Do you agree or disagree? Are you mad? I really want to hear your opinion about Odit down below, and go to the GameLeap website for tips, tricks, guides, and everything you need to pop up and dominate, climbing rank after rank. Do yourself a favor and go check it out right now down below.